And away we go. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Big Freaking Friday Show on the College Football Mafia Network. I'm your host, Nathan Bomber Brown. With me are my partners and, generally good and fun guys to hang around. That would be the Wild Ute and Moen. How we doing tonight, guys?
Happy Friday. Happy Friday. So happy it's Friday. Let's
Happy
watch some
it's
college football.
Friday. I am too. How about you, Moen? How you feeling?
I'm a little under the weather, but other than that, I'm okay.
Okay, yeah, your mic sounds a little transformer-ish too.
That's probably not my mic. That's probably my voice.
Okay, all right. Well, I hope you start feeling better for sure. It's the holidays. You don't want to be sick. I have a quick report for everybody. I met with my doctor today. He says he's ecstatic with my recovery. He has actually told me I can start paying attention to things like lines on my face, scars, and how to fix them. I was really impressed that he is willing to talk about that next level stuff. And we're not talking about how much it hurts or whether the cancer's coming back or any of those other things. So that's a report for all of you. As much as it is for me and my family, you guys shown a great amount of empathy and support these last several months, and I don't want you to think I forget about it. Make sure you follow all of us on Twitter. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you turn on your notifications on YouTube and on Twitter so you know when we're around and we're on. Hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up and let us know how we're doing in the comment section. And last but not least, consider becoming a member of the College Football Mafia family. How do they go about doing that, Moen?
Absolutely. You can go scroll on down by the chat window. You'll see a little rectangle with a dollar sign that represents U.S. currency. If you were wondering, click on that little cash icon. You can leave us a super chat. If you're watching on demand, a super sticker, or you can become a member or gift memberships.
Well, I really appreciate everybody that has become members recently. And we're tuning back up, aren't we, Ute? Coming into more videos, more special videos for members only. You want to explain to everybody how that works for members?
Oh, sure thing. So, yeah, members only, the exclusives, usually a little bit more data based and doing a lot of research, digging that nobody else is really putting out there. The most recent video is the Great Milking of 2024, and that is the Colorado story of Ralphie and the Big 12 viewership. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. If you're a member, that's an exclusive. There's going to be more to come. We've got several videos that are on the docket. Just need to do the research and record them. So looking forward to the off season to get into some more fun, unique college football topics.
Yeah, you got realignment coming, spinning back up. We got the end of the college football playoff and the way that will work as it affects realignment and all these conferences. And then last but not least, as news breaks, as we have new things happen in college sports and specifically around basketball and football, we will do special things and special videos around those things. And that's what your membership gets you. So please consider becoming a member as we get into this off season. And you can enjoy these videos these new videos as we put them out. All right, so we've had a week, guys. A week since the 5 days since the shocking reveal, not really, the shocking reveal of the college football playoff and the teams that are in it. Is there anything that stands out to you as this week's gone on, as the news has come out about different ways to cope with the methodology that went into this, that really stand out to you guys, sort of the fallout of this last week and how it all went together? How about you? What do you think?
Yeah, the fallout really dropped right after and the fallout was beforehand. Everyone knew exactly kind of how it was going to shake out, other than the SMU Alabama play. Still surprised that SMU got in over Alabama, guys. To be honest with you and everything, but really over the next couple of weeks, just looking forward to the games. It's not going to be. It's 8 days away from the playoff games, so everyone's going to be tuning into those, excited about those and everything. So 8 days away. That's it. So really, over the last couple of days, not much fallout from the CFP. Like, I hope it moves to 16 teams sooner than later, 14 teams in the near term and stuff. But yeah, I mean, excited for more.
Moen. We can't hear you if you're talking. Sorry.
All right.
There you go.
I have a very special Moen rant on this that I'm recording for the members, hopefully on Monday or Tuesday.
Oh, okay. Don't want to give too much away. Is there a preview you want to give everybody?
It involves one of my favorite topics.
Okay, I think I could probably guess what that is, but I won't spoil it for you. We will look forward to that. As soon as that's done, we'll obviously blast it out on the Mafia Network, and then people have access to it. All right, something I want to touch on before we start talking about actual news and things that have happened over this past week or so. We have this college football bowl mania, which we did last year. I tried to give away gifts for, and let me make this bigger. I tried to make this fun for everybody. Moen, you want to tell everybody how this works? I'm going to post a link in the comment section for people to sign up for it, but let everybody know kind of how this went last year.
This is you pick the bowl games and you go from there. I'm trying to pin it up in the chat, but I've already put the link in chat, Bomber.
Oh, you did? I did too.
I did.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
So should be good there. The password is Mafia. Just follow that link on Twitter. It'll take you right to the exact page that you need to be on to register for the bowl pick'em this year.
And I have gone through and I've posted and reposted this. I'm going to just repost again. Just follow those links, sign up, and join. It's a lot of fun. We had somewhere around 50 or 60 people participate last year. I'm hoping we get closer to 100. So everybody, please sign up for that. It takes maybe 15, 20 minutes to pick these games. And then you can sit back and we'll do updates as the bowl weeks go. And it's a lot of fun for about 6 weeks. Add some excitement to what is normally a boring bowl season until we get to the exciting games at the CFP. So we encourage everybody to sign up for that. Do you want to say anything about this pick 'em before we move on?
I dare you to sign up, and I dare you to bring it on and come beat me. I dare you. Anybody out there? I'm going to beat all you guys. I'm going to beat all you guys in the bowl pickups. I'm a lead at bowl pickups, so bring it on if you have the guts.
I love it. Now, last year, I think I was the highest in our team. I was the highest member. I think I was 6th or 7th. But the top 3 people will win a prize. Haven't settled. Last year, it was not insubstantial how much we gave as a prize to the guy who won it. So I encourage you guys to sign up and and certainly get involved and try to beat us. The top 3 are going to get something, whether it's one of my team that wins or not. So we encourage everybody to sign up for that. So the first game start tomorrow. So get out there tonight and make those picks. I will blast out this link one more time tomorrow, and hopefully everybody will get in and participate. All right.
Right. And I want to announce the season winners for season pick'em, Bomber.
Oh, please do. Yes.
Opie, D-Don, you won the season pick'em. 75 and 65.
Did he really?
Shonsky came in second at a respectable 73 and 67.
Excellent.
And then our very own Rock and Rant finished up number 3 at lucky number 69 and 71.
Oh boy. Well,
then you had other Gygax and Kerry Go Knowles. You guys were number 4 and 5, but you were pretty
Kerry
close,
Go Knowles came in. Awesome. I haven't seen Kerry for a minute. Well, obviously the contributors don't get any prizes, but I'll meet with the team and see if we want to do some, at least for Opie. Yeah, we like to reward people that win competitions around here. So I'll get with you and Moen. We'll see if we can put something together. Opie, if you want to win a prize, we didn't really advertise that, but if you would like something from us, send me a DM on Twitter or put your email address in the comment section so we have a way to contact you. And yeah, we'll definitely get something out. I think that'll be a lot of fun. All right. We'll talk about that bowl pick'em at the end of the show, just so you don't have to track it through the whole thing. But the link is the link embedded in the show description?
I can't because ESPN's unique links.
It wouldn't let you. Okay.
It's too much for the character limit. So
okay.
That's why I just linked it to the Twitter post. Go to the X post. You don't have to be a member of X to view the post. Click the link. So
Right. Okay. That sounds good. All right, let's move to our next topic, and the topic of the show that, frankly, I was thinking, what are we going to talk about as we go into this off season and we have this dead period for between the end of the season and what we got coming up for the first round of the CFP, which is next weekend. And I want to ask you two guys a question because this stuck out to me, and I just don't understand why it's such a big deal. The bye, I think we should get rid of. And I've been on the record saying get rid of the bye since last year. If we're not playing games today, what's the purpose of having the double bye for the teams that get the extra 2 weeks now of rest? It doesn't make a ton of sense to me. So, Moen, I'm going to ask you first. You're an advocate of the bye. I'm sure you are because you're an Ohio State fan. But justify having not 1 but 2 weeks off before you play your first game.
Well, listen, 4 seeds get the buys. I think winning your conference has to mean something. If it's not going to get you any reward, why would you play a conference championship game?
I don't know why you would. I don't know why you don't do semi games. Yeah, I get rid of it.
I mean, again, if you're playing a semifinal conference game, what's a reward if you don't get a buy?
The reward
home
is
game.
Yeah, you get a home game.
That's not as much reward as a buy, guys. You got to have something for the conference winners.
Well, what I'm saying is
you don't need a home game.
What I'm saying is this week would be the bye. If everybody there are no playoff games till next weekend.
Yes, you're saying that nobody would get a bye. That would be 16 teams, nobody buys.
And they would start next week. The games will start next week.
Yes. Listen, I don't like that. I think it's in place to protect the conference championships. It's put in place to put the winners of the conference. They deserve to be in there. Arizona State deserves to be in there. They won their conference. They only had 2 losses. Oregon definitely deserves to be there. They won their conference, went undefeated. Boise State deserves to be there. They won their conference, only had 1 loss, was to number 1 Oregon. And, you know, what we're going to do if you – the only conference one didn't deserve a bye, didn't get one, which was Clemson.
Okay, you cut out there, Moen. We didn't hear you there.
I said the only conference winner who did not receive a bye was Clemson.
Okay,
and I think that was correct.
Yes,
I think they got the buys correct. Now you can argue about the other seeding, but the 4 buys are correct.
Okay, how about you?
Yeah, I don't think buys are correct at all in college football. That's insane, having buys in college football based on media polls and based on different rankings that are completely subjective. It's insane. We're not in the NFL here. We should go to the NFL. We should go to Project Rudy, but we're not there yet. Until we're there, we shouldn't have buys. Buys are too much of an advantage. So just flip the rankings around and stuff, have a home game instead of a bye. I mean, it's really like, I don't know, to give such an advantage for somebody like in a room, a playoff committee room, based on the eye test seems crazy. That's not usually how sports ever works anywhere. But yet in college football, we do that, which benefits Ohio State. Like,
yeah,
I want to I mean, that's just never going to pay off for like. It doesn't make sense to me why you would have buys.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Let's assume that Utah had an awesome season this year with 2 losses and have one of those buys. Would your opinion be any different?
No, because I want a home game. I'd love to have them
that's what I
have
would
a home game rather than have some neutral site garbage game at Fiesta Bowl. I want a home game, man, in the playoffs. That's what it's all about.
Well, and if you not only the home game, but you're basically saying everybody's on the same playing field. That everybody gets 1 week by. It's this week. Why aren't we playing, 8 games next weekend, or even 7 games next weekend? I understand what you're saying. Winning a conference should mean something, but again, let's get rid of the conference playoffs. If you go 4-4-2-2, you have the top 2 in each Big Ten and SEC get buys already. The other 4 teams are playing for 2 spots. In the ACC and the Big 12, they're playing for 1 spot. I think that totally makes sense to do. I just don't know why double buys are necessary.
If we were all in the same conference playing the same opponents, I'm fine with the bye. In the NFL, you're playing professional NFL teams. You get a bye. If you're the number 1 overall seed and everything, you get a bye. So that makes sense. But when you're in the Big 10 versus the ACC versus the Big 12, it doesn't make sense. There's not cross-pollination in gameplay. And so it goes into a committee room and it's subjective. And that's bullcrap.
So can we do a poll, Moen, here at the beginning of the show? Should there or should there not be playoff buys? College football playoff buys. And let's see what the smartest fans in social media, college sports have to say. Because the people that are watching this show are at the tip top of being the smartest fans out there, the most educated, the ones that listen and pay attention and look out for information so that they can go into a room and be the smartest guy talking about this stuff. Let's see what they say. We'll let that run. How long should we let that run, Moen, as we move into our next topic?
We'll let it run until I get the outcome that I want.
Yeah, that's it. There you go. Yeah. All right. Well, before we get into the coaches and the coaching lottery, which we're going to talk about in just a second, give me 1 second here. My mouth just dried up.
Me too.
All right.
Me too.
Before we get into that, let's do some shout outs. First of all, we're going to start with the first super chat of the night. $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Heartbreak25. We're very, very grateful for you. And $10 super chat to get your comment out. Heads up, Daily Collegian reported Penn State will max revenue sharing. I believe that's $21.5 million right now. Invest 82% of it in football. Not real surprised. Averaging over $160,000 in salaries for all 105 scholarship players before NIL kicks in. And isn't this, guys, just the future coming to our doorstep right now?
Yeah. Hey, Mo, to answer this, I got to break out some math real quick.
Let me tell you this. 82% is going to football. Probably 15% is going to their wrestling program. Penn State has one of the best wrestling programs in the country, and they spend a lot of money on it. And that is a cash sport for Penn State. That seems right to me. $160,000. That seems more than fair to me, and I think everybody in the Big Ten is going to hit that 21 and a half. I think that's going to be required.
What that equates to is $77 per hour, right? $160K and stuff.
Wow.
So we're talking about, okay, so let's reframe this thing. This is actually your bare minimum compensation before asset NIL. Yeah. So you're getting paid $77 an hour, play ball at Penn State, Utah, wherever. They're all going to pay the same thing. $77 an hour, then your NIL deals on top of that, which could be in the millions, right? Like we know the hundreds of thousands and stuff. So the money is crazy. They're getting paid more than like any of us would ever dream of and everything, like as young kids and everything. So, hey, that's how the rules go. Good for them. But that's a lot of money. I mean, that's minimum wage is $77 an hour. Penn State.
I appreciate hearing that this was sourced. In other words, it's coming from somebody at the university. A lot of that news has been assumed that the profit matching or the salary match up to $21.5 million, the full spend would be available to most of the schools in the Big Ten and the SEC. It gets a little more tricky when you're talking about schools in the Big 12 and ACC. There's some that have come out and said, yes, absolutely, we're matching, but there haven't been a lot of those. So I think it will be interesting to see what this first year looks like. If everybody will just go immediately 21.5 and just deal with the consequences later, thinking they have to keep up with the Joneses, or is it going to be the reverse? Half of the power schools are in super power conferences. The other half are in conferences that can't say they're superpower. And in doing that distinction, this is where you might start seeing a separation in skills and talent to build these teams. Isn't that right?
You know, one thing that I'm thinking of is like, what's the repercussions for not getting on board and paying the max amount? Like, okay, so like if it's $160K per football player and everything, like, can't you kind of play games and get around that by offering more NIL funds and just not do the rev share part? Like, what?
Sure, absolutely,
Like,
you
I mean,
can.
like,
You bet.
like, I mean, seriously, 160K is amazing and everything, but when you're going to be paying more and like outside NIL and everything, like, why even participate in this? Like, do you have to? Like, I mean, what's with the house settlement case? What's the repercussions? At what level are you not considered? Like, I mean, what happens if you don't do this? I'm not even clear on that, guys. Do you guys know that answer? Like, you can participate, but if you don't, are you at more liability or something
I
as a
I
team?
don't I don't look at it like that. I think that if you I think they ought to separate them. Frankly, if whatever the match is, I think the minimum should be paid by the school, which is the math you just did, Ute. Whatever the scholarship amount is plus the money to get up to that 21.5 or whatever your school decides to do. I think the majority of the big money has to come from the third party NIL.
Right.
If you leave it up to the schools to basically be the salary cap matrons, and maybe they will, then what'll happen is you'll have these crossovers, which I think gets a little bit gray area on whether you're breaking rules or not. So say I'm at BYU, very conservative, don't like to generally break a lot of rules. If I was at BYU, I would want it to be all or nothing. Either all NIL runs through the university and the 21.5, and then other funds will be managed at the university level, or I would say we're just going to do the 21.5. You guys just do whatever you're going to do behind this curtain for the balance of the NIL funds. In my opinion, I think it has to be one or the other. It'll probably end up being somewhere in the middle, some sort of hybrid. But this distinction needs to be made. And I think you asked a very good question, you. It's the Wild West. I don't think we know.
It doesn't even, like, I mean, if there's no repercussions for not opting into rev share at the moment, then why would you do it?
I agree.
I mean, like,
I
'cause
agree.
if the school is funding that directly instead of your outside collective, but come on, like you're saying, like, there's some gray area in there, Nate. So, like, if you could you really use the same amount of resources and go outside of your school, not rev share,
Right.
like, do that and you get the more money to the players. I mean, that's what it's not really making a lot of sense in my head and everything. It sounds good because it's paid for the school directly, but I don't think that's maximizing, profit for the player.
Yeah, I agree. Mo, and you want to add anything else before we get into shout outs?
Sure. I think that on a conference level, I think you're going to see conferences step in and set a bare minimum of what
I
you
could
have
see
to
that.
spend
Yep.
as far as revenue share. Like I said, I think for the Big Ten and SEC, I don't think it's going to be 8. They're going to want every one of their members to spend that full 21.5.
And what can you describe to everybody why you think that minimum's actually required?
Because I think it comes down to competitiveness. We all know Vanderbilt's not going to be necessarily a championship team every year, but they certainly don't want them to be the absolute doormat that they've always been. So having more competition, I think it makes more parity in your conference. I think everybody playing on the same. Obviously, NIL is still out there. NIL is going to have to factor into it. There's nothing we can do about NIL, guys.
Right.
There's really not. So I think everybody's going to have a level playing field. Every football player in the Big Ten is going to be receiving X number of dollars, and I think that's good for the football players and the athletes. So,
because at the end of the day, this is house settlement money, right? Like the settlement, this is like the agreement. So you're not gonna, to avoid all the future lawsuits potentially,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So this is to mitigate your risk of getting sued down the line, sort of complying with the house settlement. But we know that the house settlement itself is, under attack. It might not even hold up to.
It might. Yeah. There's lots of
Right?
lawsuits. Lots of lawsuits.
You could kind of play, if you wanted to play a shady game, you could do it.
I agree. I agree with you. Really quick, again, Heartbreak 25. Thanks again for the $10 super chat. We very much appreciate it. Helps us keep the lights on, as they say. And thanks for being here. Make sure you subscribe. Follow us all on Twitter. Turn on your notifications.
That was legitness.
Everybody.
Yeah, it was. Huh?
Thanks, Moen. But we appreciate you being here, and everybody else, as we get into these shout outs, make sure you leave us a comment or question. They're free. They don't cost anything. We try to get to them. As this show proceeds, we get to all super chats. That's a rule. We definitely try to defer to member comments. So if you'd like your comment to have preferential treatment without paying a super chat, you could become a member and do that from month to month. Those we appreciate. And then last but not least, leave your comments. We may or may not get to them, but certainly we enjoy the conversation. All right, Timothy Green gets us out the door. He is a member of the Mafia family. Timothy Green, well, even though I'm a Mountaineer fan and we're hoping that Coach Rod can get us back in our winning ways, we all know where the money is. I would have to say North Carolina. Timothy, you're already cutting to the quick. We're not ready to talk coaches yet, but really quick, I want to say, in my opinion, there were a lot of options at West Virginia. I think they got the comfortable coach. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think you just summed it up really well. Succinctly right there. A comfortable pick.
I think this was a home run pick, and I'll get more into it later on.
Okay. All right. We will be going through it. Stormy Cyclone checking in. Good to see you, Stormy. Another member of the Mafia family saying hello, everyone. As far as the thumbnail, yet to be determined.
Yet to be, yeah?
Yet to be. Bob Swanger checking in, another member of the Mafia family. Good evening, College Football Mafia. Good to see you. Illini Ted, another member. Guys, how cool is this? We've got all these members checking in here on a Friday night. We very, very much appreciate each one of you. Taking off my tinfoil hat, good evening, Mafia. Good to see you, Illini Ted. Did you burn your tarot card? I think that's the question we want to know. All right. Moving right along. Skaven, yes. Hello, gentlemen. Go Big Red. Let's see here. Rock and Rant checking in. Coaching season apparently is like a rerun. People remarrying their wives that they divorced 100%. Ago.
They've changed, guys. They've changed.
They've changed. Yeah.
We'll see. We will find out. Line Ted again says, great news, Bomber. Talking about my health. Mm-hmm. Thank you much, Ted. Thank you very much, Ted. I appreciate it. Devil Frog, the OG of all OGs in the Mafia family, saying, what is that? That's a heart. Thank you
so much. It's a heart for you.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Devil Frog. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Rock and Rant checks in as a 10-month member of he's a paying member, does his dues, and also is a contributor, which we very much appreciate on our Sunday night show with Moen. Awesome news on your health. Thank you, Rock and Rant. I appreciate that again from you. You guys are like family. So I'm going to start. Okay, I got to stop. I'm going to get emotional. Shonsky checking in.
Let it out,
another member of the Mafia family saying, I don't think anyone won. Will Belichick ever coach a game? Scott Frost is the most risky, in my opinion. But Rodriguez is a retread also. We'll get into it. We will get into it. Antoine Coach checking in. Arizona State in the house. Another member of the Mafia family saying, just had a right heart cath today. Oh, Antoine, I'm so sorry that you had to have that. But if you're here now, it must have gone well. That's great. Those stints can help save lives for sure. The doctor said everything's so good. They did an echocardiogram, but that test showed no improvement. But I'm still going strong. Go Devils. Antoine, you have our prayers. And keep us posted, okay? On Twitter especially. You let everybody know. I know that support is very helpful, and we love to give it. Believe me. I don't know why I'm so dry mouthed today. I hope I'm not getting sick. Let's see. I'm scrolling down to new comments. Becky, go Huskies. Another contributor to the Mafia family saying, go Navy, beat Army. Becky was in the military. So Navy. I'm going to say Navy is where her voting interest is. Do you guys have a preference?
You know what? I like Becky so much that I'm going to be rooting for Navy too. So go Navy, beat Army.
All right. Army has something to play for. To be 12, possibly 13-1 at the end of the season. That's crazy. Let's see here. Sam Kim checking in, saying most years, both the Big Ten and SEC will get 4. No shocker there. No, we're not shocked at that. Yeah. Clint Moses, I would like 16 teams CFP, 4 brackets, 4 teams in each from same conference. Top 4 from each conference is Final 4. I like everything about that except for I would mix up the teams. I would put Big 12 teams up against SEC teams, up against Big Ten teams, up against ACC teams. A mixed up bracket is what you would do is use the conferences to pick the 4 teams, whoever they want, and then you mix those up in a grab bag, and you play 8 unique games, no rematches, no retreads, and it gets interest across the country. Which do you guys like better?
Well, I like playing games versus the ACC from like the Big 12's perspective, and I would imagine Moen would like to play SEC and like Big 12 too. You play conference games all year long and stuff, so I don't think it would be quite as exciting going into the college football playoff and continuing to play more conference type games just to see who's the best. I think the regular season's kind of for that, so I would love the opportunity to play a Big 10. Where else?
Moen?
Yeah, I agree with you. Absolutely. I don't want to play a conference. Listen, Ohio State could have been in the Big Ten championship game, but they couldn't get it done on the field against Michigan.
Right.
I don't believe you should get rewarded with a second chance. You've got the regular season, you've got your conference season to make that championship game. If you can't get it done, you can't get it done, guys.
Wait, Moen, so you don't think Ohio State should be in the field?
I don't think that you should be in. I don't like this concept of 4 brackets with 4 teams from the same conference.
That doesn't surprise us.
I don't want Penn State, Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon in the same bracket.
No, we're saying you mix them up. We're saying
I'd rather play the general field. Yes.
Okay. All right.
I'm responding to Clint. I would not like the way Clint has it.
Oh, sorry. I would say this: the auto qualifiers don't have to change in that regard either. You still get 3 at large. You still get 1 from like a G6 conference, but all you're doing is you're taking the other 4 power conferences and you're mixing them up. Whoever qualifies, you put them in, and all 16 are seeded appropriately. Yeah. I would love to see that. I think it'd be really effective and fun, but whether it happens or not, I don't know. Let's see here. Shonsky says, will it be on your Discord? Moen, can you make sure to post the link to the playoff? I think we even have a Discord section for tournaments, don't we? I thought we had that category. If we don't, we'll create it. That's a great idea, Shonsky, and yes, we'll definitely do it.
If not, I'll just put it in the main chat for now, Shonsky.
Okay, that sounds good. Ryan Willie checking in saying CFP starts next Friday. I know
oh my gosh. Oh,
I know
so
it.
Exciting.
It's almost here. It's almost here. I know people are anxious for the games for sure. Rock and Rant says I can go either way with it. Conference champs in the NCAA tournament. Don't get it by to get better seating closer to home. Make that make sense, Moen. What is he saying there?
Hold on. I'm sorry. I was in the Discord.
Or you know.
Yeah, so like in the NCAA tournament, if you are a top seed, you get to play a regional bracket near your.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Your campus, right? And so I think that's what Rock's alluding to too. Like
but we're talking about the first round games being home games.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what he's just pointing to when.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Let's see here. Mark Bowman checking in with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. Let's give him a sounder there, Moen.
Let him cook.
Let him cook. I love it.
Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said let him cook.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mark, for the super chat. We really appreciate it. And thank you for your membership. Your membership means so much to us. And, boy, the continued memberships that we've had, everybody, are just amazing. And we're very grateful for you.
We're going to be giving some really good content to you guys. I'm serious. Some stuff that's coming up here. Nobody else is going to know that information.
Absolutely.
You will know it.
Smartest guys at the water cooler. There's no doubt about it. Is the $21 million revenue share sure thing for 25-26? Is $21.5 million. And yeah, it's been confirmed that number is accurate. What you alludes to, though, is while that might be the accurate number now, there's still a lot of lawsuits where the smaller conferences are, and even states are suing the House settlement saying, you can't force us to participate, give you money out of our basketball revenue, which is essentially what it does.
So you're paying money to comply with the House settlement, which might not actually stand the test of time because of
Yep.
lawsuits. That's
Yep.
why you can kind of, if you wanted to be gray around the system, I don't think any power level school is going to do that, though. I think they're all going to play nice in the sandbox with this.
They get ahead. I would think so. They're basically raping and pillaging these smaller conferences. So I would for
Right.
sure. Becky Go Huskies again. $5 super chat. Does the salary work like the NFL, only getting paid during the season, NIL covering the rest of the year? I have no idea. Do you guys know the answer to that? Is it just during like the football season, or is it titrated out around the
The
whole
NFL
year?
compensation structure?
I don't know. No, I don't know.
Yeah, the NFL
what either
compensation
not.
structure is paid out during the season.
Okay.
And like in off-season training camps and everything, there's bonuses for showing up to do a workout. You get like $2 million sometimes for like a workout bonus.
Okay.
And they're staggered across the games of the season. And so basically you're an independent contractor if you're an NFL player. And you get paid chunks of money and stuff based on the terms of your contract, based on the
Right.
games, the different events that you're in during the year. So I'd love to see college be that way too.
Moen, do you have any hard and fast information?
I think just because they're schools and universities and they don't have the cash on hand that a lot of other places do, they will probably pay this out in installments. So I would say throughout the year.
Okay.
Throughout the academic quarters, I think they're probably going to get paid per academic quarter.
That's a really good question, though, Becky. Thanks for bringing that up. I'll make a mental note. We'll try to track that down for you because I don't remember it even being discussed. If it was, I missed it. Daniel Dilly.
Think about this, though, guys. Like, if there's $160K that just in the NIL money, these guys don't know. Like, I mean, this is getting a little nerdy and stuff, but the tax ramifications of that, getting just like a wad of money like that, you better put away the taxes because you're not getting a normal W-2 employee type deal and stuff that's just coming into your account. You're going to see so many of these guys running into tax issues down the line. We're not going to go there.
Sure.
That's just on the dorky finance side here.
No, I think you're right. One of the things that BYU sells is financial literacy. That's one of the things they sell as a program. You come to BYU, not only are we going to give you money, not only are we going to give you the education, but we're going to go out of our way. You are required to do financial literacy courses that are just formed around the teams. They're not tied to a class or anything at the university. It is to the football team. That way they can ask questions and they don't have to be embarrassed if they don't know the answers. That's what BYU's doing. I don't know if anybody else is, but I think it's definitely a value add they can provide to students that want to come and play there. Daniel Dilly, another valuable member of the Mafia family, saying Fish said Washington is staying in. Yes, Fish said they were all in. I saw that. Let's see here. Get down a few more unique comments, and then here's one right here from Argra. Good to see you, Argra. Appreciate you being here on Friday night. I've spoken to the guy in charge of NIL at Penn State before. The lack of regulation is crazy. A player can demand an amount, then ask for more the next day after settling on a number. And that is one of the loopholes, is these contracts have been like open like sieves. There's been no control. Students picking up and leaving during the middle of a term. And I think what we're seeing now is more regulation. These NIL companies and sponsors aren't just giving their money away anymore. They're tying them to goods and services. They're tying them to actual contracts. Go ahead and leave. You can transfer whenever you want, but you're not taking our money with you. At the same time, the students are protected. They know what they have to meet to keep their money.
Yeah, well said there. Like we've talked with NIL folks from Utah and BYU. Nate and I have in the past, so we know those areas, and we agree with this comment too. Like there's lack of regulation around this. It's sloppy. Like, and frankly, what happened to Utah this week and stuff, they had a terms with a kid, and then the next day he decided to change the terms and go into the portal.
Who is that? Oh, you're talking about
Calhoun.
Yeah.
So that is the nature of the beast right now, and like, until we get collective bargaining and go contracts, it's going to be this way too. I mean, like, you're just an independent contractor getting the biggest bids. You're not under contract technically with an NIL collective. It's not a performance-based, call it a contract to play football and perform on the field. It's basically to sign autographs, get your name, image, likeness. So it's certainly messy. It's going to be this way until collective bargaining happens.
Moen, you want to add anything?
Listen, I think regulation's actually going down the hill. I don't think they're going to put any limitations on free enterprise, guys. And that's what this is, free enterprise. So,
Well, I think you could separate it from being all restricted free enterprise versus just saying, I have a company, I'm going to give you money, here's a contract. You either take the money, sign the contract, or don't. Nobody's forcing you to participate in something like that. So I don't think it's quite, I don't think they're equatable. I think they're two different things, at least the way I look at it.
sure, but if you tie them to contracts, then you have to ensure that the school plays those players.
No, I'm
You
not
have
talking
to.
about I'm not talking about performance type things. I'm saying just being on a team or just participating in a certain number of activities that are tied to the team. Things that would ground you and make you part of something that the university's trying to build. I'm not talking about like how many snaps you play or how many games you play in or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't see it happening.
Okay. Well, we
Wild
don't know,
West.
do we? Yeah.
Wild West.
Yeah, either way it goes. Either way it goes. Tempest checking in. I just lost his comment. Here it is. At Bomber. By the way, Tempest is a member of the Mafia family, and he knows the secret way to get your comment read is to quote me in it. So I'm just letting you know. Use my name. I tend to use those comments. Trying to get into Discord server, however, saying invite invalid. Moen, can you?
I sent him the link already.
Did you? All right, great. All right. Anybody else having trouble getting into Discord, please let us know. Me versus Echo Chamber checking in. UNLV won that coaching hires game. We're almost there. We're almost there. We will talk about it.
Slam dunk.
Let's see here. We've done them. We've done them. These are all great comments, everybody. I'm just trying to get to the ones that I haven't mentioned up to this point. I think I've got the most of them regular done. All right. We're going to move to now the game show part of this thing. First of all, hey, Moen, tell us where we are with the voting. Where did we come out with the voting for the poll we put in?
Well, you're not going to like this.
I have no dog in the
50.
hunt.
50.
No
50,
way.
50. How many
50.
votes?
50.
How many votes?
Total of 20 votes.
Oh,
10
people
were
didn't
for the
vote.
buys, 10s were against the buys.
No, brother.
I need a vote just to
You
push this
people
thing.
didn't vote. Vote for me too. You. I love it. That's great. Thanks everybody for participating in that. That's a lot of fun for us. Okay. Next part of our game show here tonight is we're going to talk about the coaching carousel. I'm calling it the Who Won the Coaching Lottery. Let me get my banner up here. And this is going to be a lot of fun. I've picked out 6, the 6 top ones that I could find. I know there's others. If we didn't pull yours, don't take it as a personal affront. I just didn't think we had more time than 6. We're going to go right from the 6 coaches and the coaching lottery right into Q&A. And that's the best part of the show, in my opinion. I wanted you guys to have time to do that. So I'm scheduling about 40 minutes for us to talk about the coaching carousel. And nobody knows the order we're going to go in but me. So I'm just going to dive right in the middle and we'll see where we go. Let me bring to the stage the first up to the table is Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen at UNLV. Okay, my first impressions of this hire is UNLV's in the game for real. They're spending real money now. Obviously, NIL and support from, I'm sure, gambling enterprises in Las Vegas are putting money into coaching and everything that goes with the coaching tree, all the assistants, all those things, the development that goes into the athletic and health and safety type things. So Dan Mullen, I think, is a great hire at UNLV. I do think, though, and you guys can tell me your opinions about Dan Mullen, but this is a question I want to leave out there. We can address at the end. Is they decided to stay in the Mountain West Conference, and the Mountain West Conference is not the Pac-12. I see this hire as being hugely effective if they're in the Pac-12. It's a little bit overkill, in my opinion, in the Mountain West. So that's a question to leave out there. But Mullen, what are your first impressions of Dan Mullen at UNLV?
Well, for starters, I think you're right. The Mountain West isn't the Pac-12, and that's a good thing. They've got leadership at the top that actually knows what they're doing. They can chew gum and walk at the same time. I like Dan Mullen as a hire.
You think so?
Former SEC coach, going to a G5 conference, G6 conference. Yeah, I think that's a big win for him.
Okay, Ute?
UNLV played the slots and hit the freaking jackpot with this.
Oh, wow. Okay.
A+ rating. Man, this is a huge jackpot. Mullen was highly desired by lots of squads. He knows basically nationwide coaching resume. He coached at Utah for a few years. He knows the region well. Like the opportunity here with some of the talent that's already on that roster. Holy smokes. This is probably the best day in UNLV football history.
Maybe.
I'm serious. Like this is like, it's huge. Like getting a coach of that quality with that city and the opportunities in that city are huge and stuff. So I'm really excited for the program. As far as them being in the Mountain West, that was a complete cluster bomb failure, not getting into the Pac-12 because the Mountain West is irrelevant. Hopefully Dan Mullen can make them more relevant, but they really, really needed to get into the Pac-12 for relevancy because all the Mountain West teams that you know today are gone and you're going to be playing, who knows? I can't even name 3 or 4 Mountain West teams anymore.
San Jose State.
Gone. San Jose State, New Mexico State, like
yes.
UTEP, like
Nevada.
Come on, guys, we got to be real about this and stuff. They botched that big time. That Pac-12 move and everything.
The best part about this hire, though, is the Pac-12 is paying for it.
Yeah, but like it's like pennies, right?
But the money,
it's not Ohio State.
We're talking about relevancy, though, Moen.
Sure, but look at
which
Boise
is more
State.
important.
Look at Boise State right now. If they run a schedule, they play close against the top P4 team, they're going to get that auto bid. Because they've got Dan Mullen as a coach. It elevates their program.
Can I tell you a secret? I think the Boise State loophole that happened this year is going to get closed. I don't think that's going to happen again. The Pac-12 is the best of the rest conference. I don't consider them on the same level as the current Mountain West. And if UNLV is your banner program in football, and the lowest part of it, the UTEPs of the world, talking football, the UTEPs of the world, I think that loophole will be closed when Boise State joins the Pac-12. That's just starters, a guess.
The AAC is the best of the rest conference.
I think they're in the Pac-12.
No way. Are you serious?
They're tied.
The American?
I think they're tied.
Over the Pac-12?
I think they're tied.
Don't disrespect our Oregon State boys like that. Bro. Come on.
And our Boise State and our Washington State and
our San Diego State
and our Utah State. Come on now.
Yeah, come on. The Americans nothing. Like they're gum on the bottom of the shoe of the Pac-12.
Tell me, besides Memphis and Tulane, who else they got in that conference?
They've got University of Southern Florida. Army plays in that conference. I mean, they've got teams in that conference. It's not like the Pac-12 that has Washington State, Oregon State, and Boise State, and who else?
I agree with you.
San Diego State, Fresno
and
State.
They've actually got enough football members.
But I think AAC. Ooh, that's a dig. AAC and the Pac-12, in my opinion, are basically on equal footing in that regard. I think both of them have really good teams. In my opinion, the Pac-12 screwed up by not getting the AAC 4 into the Pac-12. But that door is not necessarily shut, right? They could still try to pry that door open. If that happens, it's definitely the Pac-12 is the best conference. But I do agree with you that I had AAC out of my head when I brought this up, and I think you're right. Generally speaking, especially with the East Coast bias, they're probably looked at as being the same. I agree with that.
I'm just saying, Bomber, if you're the best conference, the best of the rest, you're not looking at Sacramento State.
I agree with you, and I don't know that Pac-12 is. That's a rumor. That's something that Sacramento State's ginning up. I wouldn't necessarily say you're giving them way too much credit if you think that the Pac-12 is just going to take them because their mayor came out and said, pick us. So I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. But that's a good one. By the way, while we're doing this, everybody, this is an activity. Please give us your grades. Give us your grades for UNLV's hire. In my opinion, I would give that hire an A plus, with the ability to also qualify it by saying you got an A plus in a D plus football league. So I'm not sure how important that is, but I think A plus. What do you guys think in your grades?
A plus.
Yeah, A plus for Dan Mullen.
All right, very good. Thanks everybody for participating in our UNLV portion of the show. We're going to move right on to the next one. And again, nobody knows who this is but me. Shock value. Barry Odom at Purdue. Your neck of the woods, Mo, and I'm going to let you go first.
I absolutely hate this hire for Purdue. I understand where you're coming from. Barry Odom is a very seasoned coach. He's a head coach. He knows how to put together an organization. To me, there's just not enough spice in the pepper here. You've got Curt Cignetti as a coach at your rival, and he's in the playoffs this year. You need to go out there and get somebody dynamic like Curt Cignetti that can rebuild the offense at Purdue and have them competing with Indiana on a yearly basis. Barry Odom, to me, isn't that guy. I don't like the hire. If I was going to give this a grade, I'd give it a C minus.
Well, and it's not like Purdue is some football giant either.
Well, listen, Purdue's produced several Heisman quarterbacks, so they do know some things. At one time, Purdue was known as the cradle of quarterbacks. So
they had what? One quarterback.
Oh, they had they had Drew Brees. They've had quite a few quarterbacks come through there that have been good quarterbacks.
Druckenmiller? No, that's
Mike
Virginia Tech.
Allstott in comparison to Scattaboo. So, I mean, Mike Allstott came through there too, the A train.
They've had a few. All right, what do you think about Barry Odom to Purdue?
So Odom's passed. He was at Missouri for a long time, head coach of Missouri. At various points in the past, coordinator jobs, kind of been around a lot of places. But yeah, there's not a lot of spice here. UNLV is a spicy kind of job going up to Purdue. Yeah, it's hard to see this thing work out very well. It seems like Purdue's going to be kind of right where they've been. And we'll see how long this lasts.
Okay. Barry Odom for B, he obviously moved over from UNLV. They thought that he was a hot hire at the time, right? UNLV had the best season they've ever had, really, on aggregate in football at UNLV. So going into Purdue, I kind of look at this as like, could they go any worse where they were at? They're already at the bottom of the Big Ten. I don't think any hire that they brought in there is going to really do a lot to increase their value as far as their rating goes in the Big Ten. So does this hire move the needle? In my opinion, it's a C hire, and I don't think he's any better than the last four coaches they've had in there.
You're right. This is the what's the worst that could happen hire. That is exactly what they said. They said, well, Barry Odom's available. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Will Stein's sitting at Oregon, putting up one of the best offenses in the country. Wait and try and woo Will Stein away from Oregon.
Yeah, I don't know. They obviously felt that they lost the boosters. They weren't getting the extracurricular money that they needed to support that program. Now they're going into this super conference era. And if Purdue is going to pay the $21.5 million, as you think they're going to be required by the conference.
And that's the thing. Antoine Codes brought it up in chat. Are they going to invest in their football program? They might not. They just might invest in basketball. They might just say Purdue's a basketball school.
Right. Well, Indiana's gotten away with that for decades. So, they finally have a program now that has got a great coach, has made a difference. So is there any opportunity? By the way, let us know what you think about Barry Odom to Purdue in the comments section. We will try to mark and highlight those as we go back through. Make sure you mention the hire, the school, and what your grading is, and then we'll go back at the end of the show and review those things in our Q&A. That'll be a lot of fun. And I just forgot what I was going to say. At the end of the day, does he move the needle? Is he going to be any better or any worse than what they've got? I think
he's going to be better than Walters was. He's going to be better than Walters, but I mean, he's not going to be great. I don't see him making a playoff run. I don't see him making a conference championship run.
Right. I think I think we agree with
He's
you.
a C. It's a C grade, right?
Yeah. C is you don't lose a ton of ground, but you don't necessarily gain any ground either. So, all right. So I'm going to spin the wheel of change here again and bring on the next. And this will be shocking for those people that are watching right now. Please hang on to your hats. If you're
It's gonna be
chewing
Bill
gum,
Belichick, isn't it?
close your mouth. This is be the shocker of all shockers. Scott Frost,
Scott Frost.
to UCF. I know this is the hire everybody's been waiting for.
Mm.
This is the one that it trumps Bill Belichick. It trumps any coach that could have come out in this latest coaching lottery. Ute, tell us why Scott Frost Part 2 is good for UCF.
Well, Scott Frost Part 1 was A rating, right? It was
Right.
fantastic, and that's why he got the opportunity over in the Big Ten. That was a failure. Obviously, he's been out of head coaching for a while, kind of out of coaching, he's off the
Since
grid
he left
for a bit, it seems
Nebraska.
like. Yeah,
Yeah.
since he left Nebraska. Look, he's had success there before. I mean, look at his peer Gus Malzahn, who was a horrendous coach that could recruit fairly well, but he just could not coach at all. Scott Frost is a better coach than Malzahn. They're in the new league now. They're not in the American anymore. They're in the Big 12. There's a lot of unknowns here, but I see a little bit of upside. I'll go with the B grade on this one because he's proved it before. He's won there before. He's still young, kind of fresh and everything, and maybe he just jumpstarts this thing. And Malzahn just has kind of left it in shambles, to be honest with you.
Moen?
This is a D grade because you are degrading your program. Scott Frost won at UCF when UCF was a G6 team. You're not in the G6 anymore. You're not in Kansas, Dorothy. This is a Power 4 conference. You are going up against guys like Dillingham, Deion Sanders, Whittingham. It's a lot more competitive than it was when Scott Frost was there the first time around. And I think Scott Frost had the opportunity at Nebraska. He even got an extension at Nebraska. They were terrible. He's not a good coach. He is not a good coach. I think he had lightning in a bottle for the run one on at UCF. He's not going to have it this time. It's a D. I think he's got 3 seasons he's done there.
Scott Frost Part 2. I will say this. Anything's better than what Malzahn has done the last 2 years. As you said, they've been recruiting. Their recruiting numbers at UCF have been good. And that's why the last 2 years people have picked them to do very well in the Big 12. And they could not have been worse records if they wanted to be. This last year was a complete disaster. And that's including the fact that they were like the number 1 or 2 scoring team in the conference. They just, as a team, could not perform. Their defense didn't show up when the offense did. And when the offense didn't show up, the defense didn't step up to help. So him coming back can't hurt, a lot like the Barry Odom hire. But I think we saw the top of that last run before he went to Nebraska. That was his maximum. And that was in the AAC. Can he pull the same off with the same access that he has to players in the Big 12 in a power league conference school? I'm going to say it's a B hire. I know you guys aren't necessarily sold on him, but they need somebody that has been a winner at that program, and he did win.
And that's where I'm going to disagree with you, Nate. You said it can't hurt the program. It absolutely can't hurt the program if undefeated Scott Frost is coming back and they expect undefeated seasons moving forward.
Fair enough. I think that's fair. Expectations will drive what the outcome will look like in 3 years. I think that's probably fair. But they got to start somewhere. That's what I'm saying. Again, like Purdue, can you go any worse than they were this year? I find it hard to believe they can do much worse than they did this year.
I mean, he was a star coordinator at Oregon before he took that UCF job, so it wasn't just 1 year, right? Like, I mean, this guy's had success. And, like, just because it didn't work out in Lincoln, how often does it work out in Lincoln? Sorry, GBR, but it's been rough out there for a long time and everything based on their own issues that are unique to Nebraska. I think this hire could go really well for UCF. I think I see this being successful, actually. So I'm giving it a B. It's not an A+. that I really don't see this bombing out. And they are a cluster of a program right now with Malzahn, who wrecked it, that I think is going to be lifted quite a bit here with Scott Frost.
Yeah.
All right.
In defense, Nebraska had bad hires. Under Bo Pelini, they were a consistent 9 and 10
They were a 10-win team every year. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. They blew that up and it killed the school for now almost 25 years. It's insane.
The day they left the Big 12 was the day that they kind of hung.
That did not help. I agree with you. That did not help. All right, so that's a good 3 or 4 we've been through. This next hire, I know you guys are just waiting on pins and needles. You can't wait for this reveal because nobody saw this coming. Nobody saw this coming. Came out of left field, and I want the shock value to sort of waft off of your personas as we bring this tile up and you guys consider this next hire at Utah State University with Bronco Mendenhall, the fixer and repairer of programs. We just got done speaking about the perfect coach to build back your program, to restore it to greatness. At Purdue, at UCF, they would have been better off hiring Bronco Mendenhall, and they didn't get him. That's what he does. Every program he's gone to, he's taken them to heights they hadn't been for a while and restored some former glory, put them back on an even keel. And I will say he's doing that again at Utah State. I think this is another A+ hire, in my opinion. I couldn't add much more to it except to say he very much values honor, very much values being truthful and honest, being held to account. Accountability is huge with Bronco Mendenhall, and he will slap that program into ship shape. Believe it or not, in the Pac-12, he will have them competitive every year. So which one do you guys want to go?
Yeah, he very much values chapstick too. This guy uses more chapstick than I've ever seen anybody.
Yeah, he does.
Watch him on the sideline. This guy puts chapstick on every quarter of the game. It's nuts. But Nate, I echo everything that you're saying. This is an A hire. I wouldn't give it an A+.
Okay.
That's reserved for Mullen. This is a solid A hire here because Utah State's in turmoil. This guy is the stability. He's the man of stability. You know exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get solid football programs. You're going to get 7-8 wins and sometimes even more. And he's going to lift that program. No doubt about it. This is a very, very solid hire. I think that Utah State, the Aggies, are in very good shape for a long time here.
Mullen?
This is an A+. I'm sorry. Nobody knows the state of Utah and Utah football like Bronco Mendenhall.
It's true.
He knows how to recruit. He knows how to build a program there. Every coach in Utah, Whittingham, Satake, who got his extension,
He did.
they're going to have to recruit against Bronco Mendenhall now. And trust me, he's not going to let any kids go. He's going to fight them on every single recruit. And every single recruit they have to fight him on in Utah, that's one more day they can't fight for a recruit in California. They can't fight for a recruit in Texas, et cetera, et cetera. I think Utah State is going to build itself up to be a very, very good program under Bronco.
Yep. And look out for Isaac Wilson. There's some smoke that he might end up at Utah State, guys.
That would not shock me. Yes.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Yeah, that in fact I hadn't heard that, but that tracks for me. I actually would love him to be at BYU and sort of rebuild and get back to where I think he should have been if he did a redshirt this year at Utah. He's a skilled athlete. The kid can play quarterback. He just needs to sort of rebuild his confidence. But getting back to Bronco Mendenhall and Utah State, honestly, I don't know who they could have hired that would have been better in this position. I can't think of one coach in America.
Maybe it is an A+. I'm sorry. I'm reconsidering. I'm going A+ too. You guys talked me into this.
Short of Nick Saban, there's nobody you could bring in there that's a better hire.
Yeah. And it's because and that's the other thing, except for New Mexico, which was basically a pit stop. He took some time off when he left Virginia. That's not normally what he does. He normally goes from job to job. So he came back. He was at New Mexico, had a good year. A lot of those players are now playing at Utah this next year that were recruited by him there. He will be at Utah State for a long time. I'll be shocked if he's not there 6+ years. absolutely stunned if he leaves any earlier than that, unless something happens at the program level that doesn't have anything to do with him. But you're not going to get a guy that skirts rules. Everything is going to be toe the line accurate. And I think Moen's right. I think while they might not have huge competition coming from that north wing in Utah, certainly they're going to have to keep him in their rear view and keep him in sight. If Kalani's in the room, he has no Broncos lurking somewhere.
Lurker.
Lurker. That's right. All right. So that was another big one. These are all great picks. A lot of people giving feedback. Continue to leave us your comments. We will review those and kind of go through what you guys think about these hires in general. The next one I'm going to bring up, and this one I don't think anybody was surprised by. Honestly, I don't even know why I'm doing the tile, but I figured, what the hell? I got nothing else to do tonight. So we're going to go with the next hire that was straight chalk. Everybody knew it was going to happen, and there's no surprise there. I have a lot to say, and I need to wet my mouth down. So I'm going to leave this to one of you guys to start.
I'll jump on this one.
I will start this. This is an A++ hire. Bill Belichick, without winning a game, has doubled what he is being paid at UNC. Season ticket sales are through the roof. Doesn't matter. This is the Deion Sanders effect. Bring in a big name, whether you have because listen, $30 million, that's not jump change for UNC.
Right.
That's a big name. That's a big money to be spending on a football coach.
Yes.
You have the money to pay him. You have the money to pay him because he's making you money. And the truth is, he's probably only going to coach there 2 or 3 years, retire, and let his son take over.
Yeah.
It's a nepotism hire. It is. It's so he can give his son, Steve Belichick, the best possible foundation to build his own coaching tree. Do I think Bill Belichick's going to make UNC a playoff team? I don't. It's going to be hard. He's going to get them to some bowls. He's going to win some bowls. I don't see him ever getting UNC to playoff caliber, but listen, you brought it up in his great members-only video, which you can watch right now if you're a member. Look at what Deion Sanders did for viewership at the University of Colorado. Belichick's going to do the same thing for the University of North Carolina. When everybody's trying to make themselves the prettiest girl at the dance, Belichick is going to do that. Because every UNC game next year, guys, is going to get big ratings outside of the ones on the ACC network. And now you're going to have an actual ACC coach that can compete with SEC games. That SEC matchup at noon, if UNC is available to ABC, they might take an ACC game. So I think this is the best hire of the coaching cycle. Doesn't matter if he wins you a damn game or not. He has elevated that program simply by being there.
Ute.
Fantastic points, Moan. I would give it an A hire. When it first happened, I thought to myself, this makes no sense at all. Like, he's going to be here for 2 years. How is he going to adapt to the changing landscape and everything? He knows the salary cap part from the NFL, but with the younger kids, like this is the same guy that's sparring and getting mad at Tom Brady for being not perfect. Tom freaking Brady. How is he going to deal with an 18 or 19-year-old player? Yeah. That's what I was thinking immediately. I'm like, that's not going to work too well. Then looking at it holistically is a completely different story, though. No matter what happens on the field with the exposure part, it's a slam dunk. Like Moen just nails. There's going to be a lot more eyeballs on UNC football. They are interesting to talk about. Like, no one gave a crap about talking about UNC football under Mac Brown or whoever the previous coaches were. They're relevant all of a sudden. We're talking about them. The exposure and everything is there. That's fantastic. I would push back, though, on the Deion Sanders. Like, I think there's a shine like Deion, but Bill Belichick's not Deion Sanders, guys. Deion Sanders has a pop culture element to him where he brings non-football people to watch the games that aren't hardcore football fans. Bill Belichick will get more viewers for UNC, but not Deion Sanders type viewers. It's not the same thing. There is a different element of Colorado fan base that is completely pop culture. Seriously. That don't, like, you should see what the Buffs did before than after. Bill Belichick will double UNC's ratings, but he's not going to 10 times it like Deion's done. But still, even forget that. Like, just look at the ticket sales, like Moan's talking about, the excitement. It's an A higher.
So there's nothing for me to really say because you guys just took all my good points. All I would just put a cherry and frosting on top is to say that I don't even think he needs to be there more than 1 year, and the effect will last and sustain for a while. Look, at the end of the day, Deion has been 2 years, and everybody thought that might be it. He would be out next year, and he is showing every indication that he's not looking for an NFL job. And Florida, maybe not so much. Maybe we were ahead of the bus a little on that, him wanting to get back down to Florida. I think he's comfortable in Colorado, and he's going to stay a little bit. I'm the first one to admit I was wrong about that.
Yeah.
And I think there is a lot to this. I think it is pop culture, but it's different. Deion brings in millennials. Bill Belichick's going to bring in guys like my dad. It's not exactly the same. They don't have the same net effect on the dollars they spend and the exposure that they get into, especially on social media. But he is the best NFL coach in history. And he and Nick Saban, they're two peas in a pod when talking about best of bests. So we'll have to see how his team does. But look, we saw this start with BYU and Kevin Young. He's coming in and building a pro system at BYU men's basketball. Brought in pro coaches. He's running a pro offense. Everything he does is geared towards, you want to play in the NBA, come here. It's exactly what Deion did at Colorado. It's exactly what Bill Belichick's going to do at North Carolina. And they won't even have to overspend for NIL athletes because they can argue, I will get you to the league. And that right now is what I think is the biggest selling point at North Carolina. The question then would be, how do you future-proof? How do you protect that so that in the future when he leaves or he dies, how does the program continue to be successful in that regard? Regardless, I think it's another A+ hire. And to all of us, to all of you, if you weren't a UNC fan before, it'll be interesting to see if you're tuning in their games next fall.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if, knowing Bill Belichick and his lack of patience and lack of perfection, I honestly worry about him pushing a player or something.
Maybe
some knuckleheads 18 or 19 just screwing around. He's not the kind of guy that's going to mess around with that. He's like Woody Hayes.
Yes.
I could totally see him getting in big trouble for doing something like that. He's no nonsense, you guys. We're in a nonsense college football world.
Yep. I completely agree.
He has got the best sales pitch of any coach in the NCAA at this point.
And what's that?
He can walk into a kid's room and say, "You want to play in the NFL?" Yeah.
Yes.
I'm Bill Belichick, the greatest coach in NFL history. Come play.
Yes. Yeah. That's what Kevin Young's doing too. He can't claim to be the best NBA coach in history, but he was the best assistant head coach for a long time. And he can say, "Hey, you want to talk to, I don't know, Kevin Durant? I got him on speed dial." Those are the type of guys that you want in your corner to bring in the best basketball player arguably since LeBron is going to BYU, because Kevin Young can say, not only will you be the number one pick, but I will train you how to play NBA defense. I'll train you how to play NBA offense, and you'll be the best prepared rookie to ever go into the league. So that's his selling pitch.
Listen, tune in next year at this time for Wild Utes members only video on how much Bill Belichick affected the media in the ACC conference.
Yeah, I agree.
We should have a preliminary wager on that, Moen. I'm thinking that it's going to be a 2 or 2.5 times pop for UNC viewership. You think it's a 10 times pop?
Well, wait a second.
Easily. I think easily.
So was Colorado, and you've seen the numbers, is it a 10x for Deion?
It is a 10x.
Okay, so if we're looking at Belichick, I think you're somewhere 3 to 4. That would be my guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he gets 10.
Here's the thing. We've got to keep in mind that you're going 10x based on what Colorado was. Colorado was in the Pac-12, a lot of games on the Pac-12 network.
Right.
Down season. So, yeah, UNC does not have the same crater that Colorado had.
At the same time, their expectations are higher. Colorado's expectations weren't as high. So it all evens out, in my opinion. The question will be how many people are watching those games just to see Bill Belichick lose it on a freshman DB, because you know that's going to happen.
That's going to be
all right. Let's get to the last one, and this is the one I'm sure everybody here has been waiting for. So I'm not going to make anybody wait any longer. Neil Brown is out. Neil Brown is out at West Virginia, and he's been replaced by Back to the Future, Rich Rodriguez. I grade this hire as a C. I think it's a comfortable pick, and I think Boosters wanted somebody in there that could mind the store, but I don't see him breaking any records. So I have him as a C. What do you guys think?
Oh, I would have to say a C- to D+ on this hire. Like, I understand that they were obligated to do this based on all the money going on Rich Rod, and that the West Virginia money and the boosters and everything were forcing the issue on this. But I just don't see this striking lightning in a bottle for a second time. It was good the first time around. Rich Rod's had many other stops and stuff where he wasn't successful. I don't know how well he knows the NIL game. He's been coaching for a long time. He's not a young guy like Scott Frost. He's not in his 40s like Scott Frost. So I just don't see this going very well at all. I don't see like a complete dumpster fire regression. I just think that like Neil Brown was getting you about 5, 6, or 7 to maybe 8 wins a year. I think Rich Rod gives you 3 or 4 or 5. I think it's a step down, but not a huge step down. And I don't see this lasting more than 3 years.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay. Moen?
Okay. As a hire, I would put Rich Rodriguez as a B, a solid B. As a hire for that job, it's an A+. It is an A+. It creates excitement in Morgantown. You've got Pat McAfee has been talking this up. Pat McAfee was at his press conference. Pat McAfee is on the air 5 days a week talking stuff up. If you don't think he's going to have that coach on his program at least once a week during the college football season, you are dead wrong. He has put
plus
eyeballs,
all the money and everything.
Plus all the money.
Yeah.
He has put eyeballs in Morgantown. He has put players towards Morgantown. The NIL Collective, if I understand it correctly, has done their best single day of fundraising in history after this hire. So I think this is a big win for West Virginia. Big win for Rich Rodriguez. My only qualm with it is he did not rejoin Michigan as the head coach at Michigan.
Just to add some detail to his contract, Rich Rodriguez, 5 years, but his base salary, guys, $3.75 million. Kalani makes more than that.
Yeah, that's pretty low.
In fact, a lot less than Kalani does. And BYU is pretty conservative. So 5-year deal, 375, but there are conditions, performance bonuses, stuff like this. So is there anything to read out of either the term or the amount?
Not really. I mean, Rich Rod hasn't seen a lot of success. Like, I mean, he was coaching at Georgia Southern or some like smaller school for a year or two, but like
Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State is where he's just coming.
But I remember like when he was at Michigan and Arizona and how he left those programs just bankrupt.
Dumpster fires. Absolutely.
Arizona, like he had a good season, but then he left that program in such bad shape. That's my lasting impression of Rich Rod. Don't have a high regard for the guy at all. So I'm rating him C-, D+.
All right.
In Rich Rod's defense, at Michigan, the year after he left, after he got all his recruits in there, Brady Hoke did take that team to an 11-win season.
He did.
At Arizona's never invested in football. I don't think it's possible to win there. In his 2 seasons at Jacksonville State, he has won the conference both times.
With Deion's players.
Yeah, but you're in a different world now.
That's Jackson.
Like, I mean, you can.
Jackson State. You're
NIL
right.
NIL even exist at Jacksonville State? Like, I mean, I just don't see. I don't know. Like, he's been in the game for a long time. It's not like he's fresh and stuff. He's like more like Whittingham's age, probably. Right? He's probably in his 60s, right?
To be fair, he came closer to a national championship than Whittingham ever has.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can throw those digs and everything, but like, I just don't think I don't
That
see this going
doesn't,
well.
yeah, that doesn't move the meter though. When we're talking about coaching, what is it, 18, 17 years later, and the game is completely changed. There's no more Big East to sort of sneak through.
Yeah, was he in the Big
And
East?
he lost that game to get to the
Oh,
national
I
championship.
remember it very
It's
well
not
because
Thursday
Ohio
right.
night
State would
game.
have
It
played
was
them.
Thursday night,
Right.
backyard brawl, right?
Yes, it was 13-9.
Yeah,
If there's any West Virginia fans in the chat, I apologize.
Look, I mean, it would have been one thing if you won that game. I don't know. Like I said, C for me. What is yours?
I'm going D plus.
D plus. Okay, and Moen.
It's an A+ hire for being a coach at West Virginia.
Okay.
It's not. It's the name is now the game, guys. It's
Okay,
the
that's
name you
true.
hire. Belichick's A+. Rick
Right.
Rodriguez is an A+ for those programs.
Okay.
Gives them immediate credibility. Gives them immediate NIL dollars. Gives them immediate attention. Because trust me, let's look at the ratings come next season when Rich Rod's first game comes in. Because I'm going to tell you what, West Virginia is going to be towards the top of those Big 12 rankings.
Well, and I told you that I think that there's a lot more involved than just showing up and being the coach.
Right.
I think those points definitely have value. The social media perspective, the extra NIL stuff from, I mean, how many schools have a booster like what's his name?
Pat
Bill
McAfee.
Pat McAfee, right? There's only one Pat McAfee. No other university has that. So they're going to exploit that to the hilt. You got to win games. So you got to recruit, got to win games. We'll see. We will see where they turn out. That was a lot of fun, guys. Let's circle back. Let's get to some comments and questions. We have reached the Q&A portion of the show. And if you're new to the channel, our Q&A is pretty simple. You can participate by putting your comments in the comment section. If you want your comment to be read for sure, make it a super chat. We read all super chats. We don't freeze anybody out. So if you do a super chat, we'll definitely get to it. Regular comments are fine. We've got right now sitting 65 in queue that Ute and Moen have been flagging during the show. We'll go through those. We defer to members. And then super chats. Everybody else, it's free and open. If you give a good comment, we'll more than likely pull it up. So let's just dive into that right now. Let me get to the super chats we have to start off with. Earl Carr, $2 super chat, member of the Mafia family, saying Bronco is A+ higher, Bomber. And we agree with that, right? You
A+ higher. He knows recruiting grounds. He knows the culture. He'll recruit. He's never been a monster recruiter, but he's a developer.
Yes.
The problem for
true.
him is trying to keep BYU and Utah players off Utah State's roster.
Yes.
Because of NIL reasons. That's going to be his new challenge.
Completely agree. Thanks, Earl, for this $2 super chat. It's great to see you. Next is Mark Bowman.
Oh, hold on.
$5. Oh,
I gotta
sorry,
give
go
him
ahead.
his suit. I gotta give him his sound.
We're gonna play football. Yippee!
Thank you. Appreciate that. Mark Bowman checking in, $5 super chat, saying, and Mark's a member as well, that setting your son up to take over did not work too well at Iowa.
Well, that's true, but that's because I think they needed to push Kirk Ferentz out. He should have been gone He should have been gone last season. Should have been gone this season.
I agree.
When you have Immaculate on next time, ask him about that one, Nate, because
Well, just so everybody knows, that Immaculate show is going to be a special show. It's not going to happen very often. So
right.
You have to get them while the getting's good. But I think, look, Kyle Whittingham, Mike Gundy, Kirk Ferentz, that whole generation of coaches, in my opinion, need to retire. That's been
Why's that?
I think they're late to the party with NIL.
Wasn't Rich Rod in the same category? He's the same age.
I'm not saying he's not. I'm just pointing out ones that came to mind. Rich Rod was coaching at Jacksonville State. Now that he's at West Virginia, I would easily add him to that group. They're all the same generation. They're all roughly 10 years older than me, so I know exactly where they come from and what they're thinking. I'm not knocking any of these coaches. They're very good at what they do. I don't think they're great in the NIL era. So That's just my opinion. I'm one of many people that have
What's
opinions.
interesting is Bill Belichick is like 7-8 years older than Kyle Whittingham.
He is. He's even older. Yeah.
Yes, they pushed a 73-year-old out the door to sign a 72-year-old.
Right?
That's crazy. Go Black 45 checking in. Good LSU has a bowl game. I'm not sure who they play. I need to look at the list, but I'm glad you're here. Go Black 45. $2 super chat saying which one gets fired first in 3 to 4 years. I would open that up. Which one gets fired first in the next 4 years?
Scott Frost will be the first to go out of that list.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Who do you think, you?
Richard Rodriguez.
Rich? Let me quickly bust. I think Barry Odom.
Oh, yeah, Barry Odom. That's right.
Yeah, he's
We
got a
forgot
tough
about Barry
hill to
Odom.
climb. They're way at the bottom. I think those boosters are going to be very impatient. I don't think they're going to be patient at all. Could be wrong. Let's see here. Earl Carr again, another $5 super chat saying, speaking of coaches, I think Utah made a hire in Beck as OC. To even make that more clear, Earl, they hired the entire BYU player staff from the 90s to be coaching at Utah right now. I believe there have been now 5 or 6 ex-BYU football players that are now coaching at Utah.
It's crazy. Really, it seems like all of the Utah and BYU coaching staffs have coached at the other place or went to the other place.
It's
weird.
incestuous. It's
incestuous, man.
Yeah, it
But
is.
you know what? This one's going to work. I love the hire, actually, for Jason Beck for the OC of Utah. And I don't care if it's BYU guys. Come score points. Don't care. I don't care who it is. Just get it done. And I think they're going to get it done. I like it. I like it a lot.
You want to comment on that at all, Moen?
Yeah, again, I think Kyle Whittingham, you're right, is in that same league as Kirk Ferentz. He should have been pushed out the door. I don't see any positive changes from Utah this offseason. I don't. You know, and their poor offensive coordinator prior to that, he could have left for Notre Dame for $2.5 million.
Yes.
And he got pushed
Yeah.
out the door this year. Congratulations.
I
I
would
really
say-
want to come work for him.
Moen sells Utah a lot, I've noticed, and stuff over the last 6 months. So, hey, when you're selling, I'll buy it, Moen. You can sell
Okay.
all you want. I'll buy
What-
your low.
What I'm saying about Utah is when was the last time you saw a team with 2 captains come out and perform well? I think the co-captain, sub-captain, captain in waiting crap killed Utah this last year, and I think it's going to kill them again this year. I don't think
you
it
guys
works
are
well.
sadly mistaken about Utah.
Okay, we're going to find
Can't
out.
wait
Well,
till this next season and stuff. I
didn't
can't
work
wait.
in 24. We'll have to see how it works in 25. That's all I'm
Well,
saying.
Cam Rising cooler. Utah should have won the Big 12 if Cam Rising's healthy.
Oh boy, let's not get into
100%,
that. Let's
100%.
stop. All right, let's.
If I
get
had wheels,
more-
I'd be a wagon Ute.
All right, here we go. So we're dropping into now the world famous Q&A, the College Football Mafia family Q&A that is world famous, and we're gonna jump right in. Continue to post your comments and questions. We will flag them as we have time. We're gonna go about 20 minutes. 25 minutes. So if you want your comment to be read and I don't already have it flagged, it'll have to be a super chat. Just being open and honest with everybody. Let's see here. Antoine Codes from earlier in the show. Thanks for being a member. Antoine, it's great to see you. Buys are a reward. They are not going anywhere.
Buys are a reward.
Winner.
I do agree with that. Buys are a reward. They're just too big of a reward for a process that is based on subjective opinion of a committee rather than playing each other on the field in the same conference. The NFL plays each other. They're all National Football League teams. So college football is more like European soccer, where you really got a Premier League and a Champions League, guys. Like, you got to be honest about that and everything. So we're talking about 2 different types of leagues with the SEC and the Big 10 and the Big 12 and the ACC. And then, like, trying to make a subjective judgment on who's the best out of that when they're not playing each other is unfair. And giving a first-round win through a bye is unfair too. I hate it.
Moen?
Do they play division championship games in the NFL, Ute?
It's
The
not
NFL is all one league. It's basically its own super league.
Yeah,
right?
that's all.
You play conference championship games in the college football. That's what makes it different from NFL. You have to protect the sanctity and the value of conference championship.
Oh boy, sanctity and value.
They are contractually
That's
obligated.
old money. That's old
The
money
SEC
talking.
and Big Ten are contractually obligated to play those games throughout the rest of their media deal, as is the Big
That's
12, as is the ACC. Those
That's
conference championship games are big money.
old money talking. I would argue you replace one game with 2 play-in games, and you actually make more money, Moen.
You could, but it's not contractually obligated.
I don't know about contractually obligated. I'm saying you would get more money if you had 2 play-in playoff games than you would with 1 championship game. So everything can be changed. Everything's negotiable. We'll get the season's not quite over. Bob sort of goes into this hidden shell during the season because he doesn't like to talk a lot, especially his ties to some of the realignment stuff. But we'll get him back in the house, and we'll break this idea of compare and contrast sub games, in other words, play-in games versus 1 championship game and buys. We'll have that conversation. Anyway,
No Super League.
No Super League. Okay. Thanks again, Antoine. It's great comment. Me and Echo Chamber, me versus Echo Chamber. I think the CFP games won't be competitive. I don't see any game being within 10 points. I don't agree at all. I think there's some good games there.
I think
Indiana, Notre Dame could be a 1-possession game.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a good game. I have a hard time seeing SMU keep it close at Penn State, especially it's supposed to be 20 degrees out there, maybe snow. That's rough.
That's a tough
It's
one.
not going to go well. But the other games are going to be close, I think.
Texas Clemson, I think, is going to be closer than people think as well.
I do too. Yeah.
I don't. I think Clemson gets absolutely railroaded in that game.
Maybe.
Listen, Big Ten country, 20 degrees and snow, wind chills in the single digits. Bring it on.
Well, Texas and Clemson are playing at Texas, so
well, they are. But I'm saying
game.
the other ones are.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, SMU, I think they got in the thing. BYU didn't, so I'm bitter. But get your participation prize and move down the road. I think
if they win that game, wouldn't that be an epic upset? Though
it would. I think it would be. I think it would be.
Yeah.
It would be historic, especially being the first playoff. I agree with you. I think you're right. Shonsky checking in again. Another valuable member of the Mafia family saying, I believe there should be buys, but that only applies if games start this weekend, meaning they don't get the extra week buy. With everyone getting a buy this week anyway, buys don't really matter. That's what I started the show with. I think too much time off hurts, and that's subjective. Every team deals with the extra time off differently. I mean, heaven's sakes, the bowl, it used to be a month between games, and we're not doing that anymore. But I completely agree with the main premise, and that is I think the buys are nonsensical. You give every team this week, then let's play football next weekend.
I think there's a reason to this, though, and that reason is the Army-Navy game. I think this was
okay, but this week is fine. I'm saying this week's fine.
Right.
I'm saying that. Yeah. Nobody's disagreeing that this week.
But he's saying in his message that he wanted buys this weekend. I think that they have to protect this weekend for the Army-Navy game.
I agree with you. I think that's right. Rock and Rant checking in as a valuable member of the Mafia family on the back end production side, a contributor, and we appreciate you, Rock and Rant, here. I certainly do, especially your membership. There's literally no way you can require all NIL deals for college athletes to go through the school with any other person in the world in America to get a name, image, and likeness endorsement deals. So I agree with Rock. I don't think the universities should be the clearinghouse for third-party NIL deals, but some people have talked about it. Some universities have said flat out all their NIL will run through this university. There was a power conference school. I should have bookmarked it. I want to say it was somebody like Mississippi State or it might have been a Big 12 school, came out and basically said their administration is going to manage all NIL, trying to restrict and constrict that access. You guys agree with Rock and Rant?
I think that would be very unwise to try to restrict access because the kids are going to find the money anyway, and you're going to set yourself back. Thinking about the NIL whole thing, remember last week when we talked about the accounting firm Deloitte doing like a model on the player evaluations for like third-party NIL, I think
Yes.
that's more likely than like running through the school, like having the clearinghouse be an auditor.
A set amount.
Yeah, like
Per
so they're
player.
based on their own internal models that they develop based on
Right.
your recruiting rank, talent, then you're worth $1 million.
Okay.
So if you get paid more than $1 million, then you're going to be in trouble because you're overpaying. That's essentially what they're trying to say.
That's next level, right, Moen? We're in the Wild West right now. Another year down the road, we get to what Ute's talking about.
Well, I think, again, this is cutting off your nose to spite your face. Why are schools like Ohio State, Oregon, all these teams with these outrageous NIL deals, why are they going to agree to this?
Yeah, I'm not saying they will.
They won't.
We're
So,
talking about,
that's,
yeah.
they won't. They're going to continue to let the spending get outrageous until we have $150 million rosters in college.
I think eventually down the road, once House is either settled or resettled or whatever they do with that, when we could talk years down the road, I'm not saying tomorrow, but years down the road, we should get to a point where there is a salary cap for each school and there should be player evaluations and dollars assigned to them, so that it evens the playing field. But it would have to be forced on them. It's not something people are going to opt into. Ohio State and Oregon are not going to opt into that system.
No.
We know that.
No. That equalizes the environment. That would be the best thing ever for the Big 12 conference.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That would be the best victory it's ever had.
Agreed. Clint Moses, y'all run a great game show, ladies and gentlemen. My Big 12 jokes all year long are just that, only jokes. Hey, we love you, Clint. We absolutely love the Oregon State and Washington State people that come in here. If you went away, my day would be less bright. I love seeing you, and all the teasing and ribbing, even arguing that we've had in the last 2 years has been a lot of fun for me. And I think it's probably the same for you and Moen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me give him a rim shot for his jokes.
Sure. There we go. I love it. Go Black 45 again. At Moen, I really prefer the flag planting to replace a dumb trophy for rivalry games. So it's a reward. You get to go out and plant your flag. You clear the field of the losing team and let the winners plant the flag. That would motivate me as a player.
I 100% agree with Go Black on this. I think they should have let Michigan plant the flag, and they should have all had to stand by with Ryan Day right in front.
The Ryan Day thing, is it win everything or you're done?
Yes. Yes.
Can you
Welcome
believe that,
to
you?
college football.
I know.
I mean,
I know.
It's all about your expectations of your program. Like it's like, hey,
people have
Ohio
started
State's
sending
championship or bust. If it's beating Michigan or bust, that is the level of expectations of program.
I wish BYU had that with their offensive coordinator. Succeed or be gone. I would love BYU to have those type of expectations. Absolutely.
certain people have started sending bankers boxes down to the Woody Hayes Athletics Center. That's all I'm going to say.
Certain people named Moan.
Certain people. There might be a campaign underway to do that.
Steve, Ojai, Florida. Good to see you, Steve. 16-team CFP without a committee can be done. I agree.
Let's go, Steve.
Yeah, we like that, Steve. We're with you. Illini Ted checking in, another member of the Mafia family, saying CFP to go to 16 with 442213 during championship week. Do games pairing next to G5 champs and highest at large against 3 next at larges. P4 can do what they decide on champ week to get there 4 or 2. That's overly complex to me. I think it's pretty simple. You have semifinals in these conferences to determine who you put in. And if you have guaranteed 2 spots this year, it would have been BYU and Arizona State. So
I like the idea here, the 4-4-2-2. We all know what that is. The Big 12 gets 2 teams in, Big 10 gets 4. And then the 1, I think, goes to the best G5. And then, really, I think that Illini Ted's saying there's 3 at-large spots. I think that makes sense. Yeah, I think that model makes sense. Just do whatever you want for your championship week. You don't have to have a title game. Just do whatever you deem fit.
Moen?
I disagree with this principle because it leaves Notre Dame as an independent.
Notre Dame's always going to get that
They should not be allowed to play in the playoffs.
We don't disagree
Moan.
with you. We
Moan.
don't disagree. There's nothing we can do about it, though.
Sure is. You can say you can't play in the playoffs.
We can, but it doesn't matter to the
Well,
world.
the SEC and the Big Ten can.
I know they're watching us right now. I
They
know
are.
right now, Petiti.
Ross Bjork
and
is
Saint-
tuned in right now
They are watching us,
with a
and
stack
they
full of
know
bankers boxes.
they're going to take. They're going to take our advice. Ah, geez. Timothy Green, again, valuable member, OG of the Mafia family, saying, please hit the like button, share, subscribe, and comment. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Give us that like button. We really, really need those for our metrics, really help the mechanics of our channel. Let's do a quick reset one last time. Please follow all of us on Twitter. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Hit that subscribe. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. Really helps us out. And then turn on your notifications. That way you know when a show's on or we have news that we're discussing. And last but not least, consider becoming a member of the Mafia family. Next to the comments section, there's a little box with a $sign. Click on that. Select the membership and join us. And you have access to all of our member videos that only are available to members. And that library continues to grow. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. Devil Frog, Rich Rod can end up like Mac Brown at UNC in round 2. Some early short-lived success that results in the hiring of a dog.
Yeah. That's how I see it too, Devil Frog. This is actually pretty divisive, though. Like, Moan disagrees hard, and then there's a lot of folks in the community that disagree. Looking at some of the comments, they're like shocked that
There was a lot
Rich
of
Rod
shock.
wasn't slim.
Yep.
Dunk, I mean, yeah, it's just differing opinions, I guess, of it. But I do agree with you, Devil Frog.
Moan, you want to add anything to that?
Listen, as far as West Virginia coaches go, again, I think it's an A+ hire for West Virginia in that role.
Okay. Bama Dude, good to see you, Bama Dude. Welcome to the channel. I think I've seen you here before. I appreciate you coming in. And boy, we're looking for SEC people. If you're an active SEC guy, send me a DM on Twitter. Let's get active. I'd love to have as many SEC people in here as possible. We want to do an SEC Mafia eventually, but we're just glad to have you here as a viewer. Well, if it ain't Sam Kim again. So evidently he and Sam Kim have something going on.
The
I'm not sure
renowned
what that
Sam
is.
Kim. You guys are both welcome in here.
Absolutely. Sam Kim as well. Me versus Echo Chamber again. Let's see. IFC. What's that mean? If they close the loophole, Boise loophole, the P2 will want to close the Big 12 ACC loophole. Well, we already know they do want to close that. But they're not on the same level, though. They're not on the same level. Let's see. Becky Go Huskies says, let Moen cook.
There we go.
So you were on it. Do you have a rant?
Let
you want
him
to
cook.
do?
Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said, let him cook.
That will be
Oh.
a members only video, I'm afraid, Bomber.
Okay,
You have
all
to be
right,
a member
okay.
of the College Football Mafia to view that Moen rant.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure you were given time if you needed it. Mr. Ed Wayne or Mr. Houston Cougars in the house. Purdue poor hire with Barry Odom.
Does anyone think that was a good hire? It seems like pretty consensus that that's going to be like a dud.
I think it's just generic. I don't think
Yeah.
there's no energy around it at all, I think.
Yeah, I think you have to put it into the picture frame that it's in, and he took over the Purdue job where Indiana has Kurt Signetti signed to a new extension that pays him $8 million a year to coach football at Indiana.
Yeah, I would agree with that. FF18 Buffs, another member of the Mafia family, saying, "Sco Buffs." Remember, next week, next Wednesday night, it'll be me and FF18 Buffs. We will be talking recruiting, and we'll be previewing BYU and Colorado, and we'll also be talking Dion. That'll be a really fun show. Can't wait to do that. And glad to have you here, Sco Buffs. Thank you again for being a member. We really appreciate it. Let me get to some more comments. Sam Kim checking in. I wouldn't be shocked if Belichick uses most of his $10 million to build a pro-style front office. That I don't think he should use his own money for that. I think he should get it out of the university.
Here's the thing is like, I think we need to think and reconsider something here. So like in the past, before NIL, if you were a pro factory, that was a huge swing factor, right? Like all these kids want to go pro. We all know that. But in the NIL era, when they're making as much as a pro, like it seems to me based on what's going on in the Utah program, elsewhere in the Big 12 and everything, that the money component is becoming more than the pro factory component right now. Like you need the NIL money, number one, and then like number two is we'll make you into a pro. But they're going year to year looking for the bags, number one.
Yes.
So does UNC have the bags? Do they have the NIL resources to fund that, to make it work there? I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, maybe they do, but they haven't brought them out in the past. They're not getting, I mean, like this is going to be away from the school. Do they have like the booster support to fund both the basketball and the football? That's a big question mark. It's not just about being a pro factory and developing you into a pro player. So then you can make millions. You can make them now every single year. And so it's a different game too. I'm wondering how that's going to work out for Belichick and UNC.
Before I give Moen a second, but I just want to get this out before I forget. BYU's doing exactly that, but they gave him the money to build it. They gave him many millions of dollars for his assistants. Like he's got assistants making $2 million at basketball. That's highly uncommon. He's being paid $5 million. And they turned around and gave him many millions. I don't know the exact number to build up the organization around it to make it pro style, just like this description for football. The difference is basketball's got 12 players. The total organization is probably less than 50. It's easier to build 50 than it is to build 150, which is essentially what you're getting for football. The economics are completely different for football.
And we've talked before, like, what are you investing in? It's so hard to win in basketball, men's basketball and football combined.
Yes, it
Only
is.
Florida's really ever done it for like 2-year period. It's usually one or the other. What's your focus going to be on? What's your alumni going to be donating to? What's your heart going to be in? And UNC might be at a problem. Like they might see that basketball program deteriorate. And I just don't know. I mean, like there's some downside to this. It's not just there could be downsides, guys. Like it's still a good hire, but like it's not going to be just an automatic win.
It's risky. I agree with you. There's a lot of risk involved. Go ahead, Moen.
Yeah, I think this is one of the downsides to Belichick. If he builds a pro-style front office, it's not going to do any good. These aren't pro-style players. These are 18-year-old kids who don't know whether to jerk off or wind their watch. They're not.
And football is different too.
And football's
in that regard
different.
as well.
Yeah. They're not going to sit there and figure. Belichick's going to get up there and say all this stuff. Going to go in one ear, out the other.
Right.
That's a good point. Attention spans are shorter, and he's a hard-nosed coach.
Yeah,
we all know what he ran off. Tom Brady, arguably the best quarterback in the history of the NFL. He ran off and got a Super Bowl at Tampa Bay. I mean, it wasn't something. If he would have stayed there, they very much could have won one or two more. But he drove him off with his hard-nosed style. So, while I still think it's an A+ for all the other ancillary things, I think it's also an A+ risk. A lot of money and stuff is going to be risked in that. And Youth's right. And I tried to get to it this last off season. I just ran out of resources. It's going to happen this season. I'm going to ask some people to help me with it. But there are only a handful of schools, universities in the country that can claim that they are fully funding both basketball and football. BYU right now is trying to attempt that. It's up in the air if they're going to pull it off. It's a risky maneuver, as you just described. And Utah got big in an all-football era at the U. They let the basketball program limp off and die for well over a decade. But they traded it for extreme football success. So every university has to make that decision where they want to put their resources. And if you're going to do both, you're going to put a big strain on your donors. So it's very, very complex. Anybody want to work on that project with me, send me a DM, and let's explore how we can come up with that. I got to bring in Jeff Fuller, maybe Ryan Thomas and Rock and Rant. Certainly I'll be tapping Ute and Moen, but I think that's going to be a video that a lot of people are going to pay attention to because it's going to be fact-driven, not emotion-driven. So We'll keep moving on. We got about 5 minutes left. If you're new to the channel, or sorry, you just got here and you want your comment to be read, make it a super chat right now and we'll get it out. Otherwise, we've got 2 or 3 more we're going to get to, and then we're going to walk out of here. Hidden Hawaiian says he killed it at Jacksonville State transfer portal. His defensive coordinator, Zach Alley, went to Oklahoma. Rich Rod has been winning in modern era.
He's right. Or she's right. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know who Hidden Hawaiian is. Yeah. You're thinking.
Yeah, I mean, like you can grab any piece of information and like make your conclusion based on that. And I understand that, and especially if you want to be optimistic about the hire, that is where you would lean on and everything. I'm just recalling my experiences over the last 25 years of watching college football a ton, and where Rich Rod was successful and where he wasn't and everything. And I just remember clearly the Arizona days and the Michigan days when he really had these big jobs and stuff, and he just left the program in shambles. And so that's where my perspective's coming from. Doesn't mean he can't change it. Doesn't mean it is certainly doomed. I just wouldn't personally hire him.
Good points. Good points. Yeti 304. Good to see you here, Yeti. Make sure you subscribe and give us that thumbs up, man. Ute is so wrong about Rich, but he was in diapers when Rich was dominating at West Virginia. By the way, there were like six.
He needs some milk.
There was like 6
He needs
comments.
some milk.
There were like 6 comments. Thank you, Moen. 6 comments that all were attacking Ute. This was I think the roundest office that I wanted to bring to his attention. Ute, what do you want to say to this?
Oh, God bless you guys. It's all good. Throw the shots and everything. I get that's frustrating to hear. So your opinion's valid here and stuff. You don't have to agree. You can throw shots. And this is a funny one. At least make them funny.
Okay. 2 more. We'll do 2 more. We're going to get out of here. Illini Ted, another valuable member of the Mafia family, says Barry Odom will have the lowest bar. I think we just discussed that. Yeah, I think we just discussed that. And last but not least, we're going to end with one from C. John, also an OG, somebody who's been around from the very beginning. C. John, it's great to see you tonight. Howdy, fellas. Do we have any inputs on what unis in Big 12 are pro-private equity versus anti-private equity?
What schools?
Yeah,
I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah, I want to say BYU will be pro-private equity if they can keep the private part. If it becomes public, that's when there's going to be problems because they keep the athletics separate from the church. So it'll all depend for BYU. I can't speak for Utah.
Okay, so 2 things here. So Greg Flugar spoke to this over the last few days. This is not our intel, that's his intel. He made mention there's 2 Texas-based Big 12 schools that support private equity. That is all that literally been revealed as far as each school. I could tell you from Utah's perspective, I don't know what kind of conversations have been going on there, but I would have a hard time seeing Utah support private equity at the conference level. I can see Utah support it at the school level.
Yeah, I see that.
But not at the conference level. And I'm pretty sure that the administration probably stand that way too. It's going to be the perspective on it. So that's just where the Utes fall. And BYU has their own issues at the conference level too. And so the Utah-based schools might not be supporting this. I guess they wouldn't, but that's just analysis right here. That's not proven out.
I think there is one caveat, and if that is they're bringing in private equity to purchase schools to come in from the ACC to essentially become that third best, the best of the rest conference in the power leagues, then I could see both of BYU and Utah is saying, look, from a growth perspective, we will section off this money so the rest of it doesn't have to be revealed on our private side, but we support it at the conference level. We'll contribute like TV revenue and stuff like that to do something like that. A big project, I could see that happening.
I mean, because an aspect of this, like this show is going to be winding down here in a few minutes, but like if you do commit to private equity, you're locked into the Big 12 conference.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
Like, and that's why. So the schools that have been talked about, at least in stuff that might have aspirations of trying to get in to another conference, would be harder sells on private equity. This just is what it is, right? It makes sense.
Yes, of
And
course.
so that's where I think it stands. I mean, I think it'd be pretty easy to pencil in exactly who's for and who's against it.
Speaking
so
of
how-
which, the one team I heard that is very anti private equity.
Is they are. Doesn't surprise me.
That's
That
exactly
doesn't
what we're
surprise me.
talking about.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. Okay, guys, we got to wind this up so we can get under the 2-hour limit. Ute, any last words as we go into this weekend? It's really a bye weekend for everybody except for Army and Navy.
Go Navy. Can't wait for next week. We get the college football playoff game starting next Friday. So exciting week coming up and everything. Look out for other videos, shorts. Probably put one out this next week too.
Moen.
Yeah. F Notre Dame.
Okay, that's pretty standard. Pretty standard around here. Anything else?
Yeah. F them hard.
Okay,
F 'em
all
hard.
right.
Make them play in a conference.
Thanks everybody for watching. We appreciate it. It's been a fun show. Make sure you subscribe, give us a like, give us a comment or question. We try to follow those up after the show. And certainly I hope you come around next. Our next show is Sunday night. Moen, preview that quick.
Sunday night at 7 p.m. You can join myself and Rock and Rant. We will be discussing all kinds of things. We'll go over the what happened in the Army-Navy game. We will be previewing the week ahead the college football playoff games. I have to talk about it with Bomber and Ute, but I think next weekend we are probably going to do 6 p.m. as a start time, or try
Sure.
to.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Simply so we can get out of the way of the
Yes.
college football playoff game.
For sure.
Indiana
Absolutely.
at Notre Dame. Go Hoosiers.
Yep, you're exactly right. We'll do that. It'll be at least one of us. We'll be here for that for sure. Everybody else, have a great night. Drive safe. If you've been drinking, please just go to bed and sleep it off. It's a good day tomorrow. Sun will rise. And yeah, just do it all this weekend, but stay safe and give your family and friends hugs. Send that special text or call somebody that you're thinking of, because you never know during the holidays, people get gloomy and we don't want that. So everybody have a great night. Stay out of trouble. And we're going to say peace out. See ya.